All right, we're live. We're live. All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Huddle. Me, Coach Muddle, Nevada Nick. I forgot the holiday was Tuesday, and I figured that you and Billy will possibly be joining us. I figured you guys needed a couple of days to kind of digest. Especially the person that's not here that talks so much smack about the front four, and they forgot to show up. You know what I mean?
Well, Sunday night I was pissed. I was really pissed. I was saying about if that ref ever, a 58 facility, which they won't do. I said, forget about D batteries. I'm bringing my car battery to throw out.
I know. I saw it.
And obviously I'm joking around. I don't think anybody should throw anything at the refs. And look, I've heard two trains of thought. I mean, obviously, there's some people just say, "Oh, they're whining," and look, what happened in the Bengals game 2 weeks prior and the Eagles game are completely different. The Bengals penalty was completely blatant. Mahomes is already hurt, Coach.
Right.
You had to make that call when it's blatant and obvious, and you got to make that call. And look, it sucks. It's a hard way to end a game, and especially a championship game. And the Chiefs know that. A couple years ago, before they got to the Super Bowl, they lose to the Patriots and go to overtime on an offsides call. I mean, that's really, right. Really tough. It's tough to take. It is. And, as a fan, it sucks. But to me, for the people that are saying, well, the Eagles had all these opportunities, I agree. I understand. But my point is, there is not one offensive holding call on either offensive line all game.
Right.
There's not one holding call on either defense, any of them all game. So you're pretty much saying we're letting them play. Now, to a degree, that doesn't mean if somebody's running down the field, you could tackle them. But to a degree, they were letting them play, Coach. Okay?
I agree with that.
And you throw a flag at that moment, Coach. 3rd and 8, that wasn't catchable. When he held him, he was behind the line of scrimmage. I'm not saying it wasn't a hold. I'm not. But it wasn't an egregious hold. It didn't keep him from catching the ball. And if you look at that play, Coach, like you could question the Quez Watkins thing because he got touched early, on that pass he dropped. Trust me. But on that, I guarantee you there was a minimum of 10 of those, throughout the whole game on either team, where they could have called it. And to make that call, it was just ridiculous. And not just that, it wasn't the official who was right by him. It's the one all the way in the end zone, which drives me crazy too. And, look, you had a great Super Bowl. And now it's going to be the one that you just don't know. I mean, yeah, the Chiefs are the Super Bowl champions. I'm not saying they're not. But you know what? First of all, this was the first Super Bowl you have where two black quarterbacks are playing each other, and they both balled out. And they played great, and Jalen Hurts had a great game. And here you are now, down 3 with 1:50 to go in a timeout, and your opportunity to go either tie, and I think there's a very good chance they at least tie, and you're going overtime. But, Coach, they have a chance to win that game. And you look, if people don't think so, let's not forget the Chiefs-Bills game. They scored like 3 or 4 times in the 2 minutes, okay? So there is definitely a chance the Eagles could have scored a touchdown and won. Now, yeah, I know it's woulda, coulda, shoulda. But to me, you really kind of put a black mark on a great Super Bowl, and Jalen Hurts deserved the opportunity. If it was an egregious hold, I'd be the first one to say, look, he held. And look, I give the Eagles credit. None of them said it's the one play, and it really isn't the one play. I mean, Hurts' fumble was hard.
Right.
But, like, you go look at that. Go look at that play. And trust me, I looked at it. I checked all of it. The ref reacted to the Chiefs. He could not see that the guy was on, because this was the one where I'm talking about where it was 3rd and short, okay?
Right.
The ref couldn't see. I looked at it. He reacted to the Chiefs players all saying he false started, and then he threw the flag. And then the next play, is
they reacted to when the Eagles did the same thing. When Kelsey got up and started pointing, they did the same thing.
Before he hiked the ball. So, they threw that flag, and then look, Hurts makes a mistake, and then the punt return. That's bad. But here's my point is, you know what? After all that stuff, the Eagles were still in the game, and one flag that shouldn't have been called is what ultimately shuts down and takes them completely out of the game. Yeah, they made mistakes. Yeah, the second half was bad. And personally, what I think happened, I think the Eagles, who played a better first half, no doubt, except for that fumble, they saw Mahomes limping and were up 10.
Yeah.
I wonder a little bit if that complacency set in, like, we have a good chance here. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
Right. And you held Patrick Mahomes to 7 points going into half.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you go back before the hold, I think if Gardner Johnson makes that saving shoestring tackle, if he just lets him score there,
right,
you get the ball back with over 3 minutes, 2 timeouts, and the way you're moving the football. I thought in that spot, because you were trying to let him score anyway after that.
I said they should have done was get a guy on the sideline and then grab him and actually take him and put him in the end zone. Take him and what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Drag him into the end zone. Drag him into the end zone.
That's why
but you can't. You once he sits down, as soon as you touch him, he's dead right there.
You don't let him know you're going to do it. Have a guy on the sideline so he can't go. He went down at the 1 yard line.
Right.
So if you grab him at the 3, you could have took him.
Oh, right. Yes. If you grab him at 3 and push him in, you're right. Yes.
Took him where his momentum's going in, and he's going in at the 3.
Right.
Because you're too close. But no, I mean, and then the other thing obviously was Andy Reid, the Eagles defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a fact. And that's what I said I was concerned about, Coach, was coaching. And if you look at it, I don't think the Eagles defense is a fugazi, but when they played top 10 offenses, Dallas late in the year, okay, when they played the Lions in the first week, they gave up 35 points. It was 38-35 Eagles, but they didn't look as good that game. It's the first week, but they gave up a bunch of points against the Cowboys. And then you look, the rest of them, they played all the AFC South teams, not very good. All the NFC East teams, except for the Cowboys. And the first time they played the Cowboys, no Dak, obviously. Now they did shut down the Vikings, but that's Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football.
But also you got burned on the same play at the same spot of the field.
Yeah, 3rd and 3 too, and huge plays, and just on different sides.
But also as your defensive back, as soon as he saw him in motion, that dude beat him across the. So he just stopped and went back. There was nobody left to cover him.
Yeah, what Angelo said, spot on too.
Yeah, Ange, thanks for jumping in, buddy, man.
Yeah, it's spot on, Angelo. And it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow, and it's just a shame because now it's that. What if the Eagles got the ball? What happens? What goes on? And I just what I would love to be able to do is get in my DeLorean, and because I guarantee it, if the shoe was on the other foot.
Yeah,
and this was happening to the Chiefs. They'd all be bitching just like we were.
Absolutely.
Oh
I mean,
look. If I don't care what team you root for, if it happened to your team, you would be bitching about it.
Yeah,
you would be. It doesn't matter, So,
and if you heard too on the play, Doug Peterson gave that to Andy Reid. He said they over pursue too much and told Andy to call that play, and he did. So Doug. Thank Lurie for giving you your first head coaching job. And I know they fired him, but come on, Doug, you won a Super Bowl when it's only team to give you a chance to be the starting QB, and this is how you treat us, Doug. But no, I mean, I just can't believe. My biggest problem is, obviously I hate it the first time too because he's 10 yards open. But when that happens, you get on the sideline and say, "What happened here?" and fix it. And then you literally come down in the same quarter. On almost the same exact circumstances, 3rd and 3, but to the other side, and the same thing happens.
Same thing.
I mean, that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And Billy, I know you got something to say, but another thing I heard too, because Rob Nikovich, who used to play for the Patriots, he was pissed about the call too. And he brought up a very interesting thing, and it just shows you the intricacies of Belichick and how he coaches. And he said whenever he coached teams who wore white jerseys, he made sure the corners and everybody wore white gloves because you can't see as much. And that's how brilliant he is. Yep. I wouldn't even think of something like that.
Right.
But he thought that could have been part of it too. The Eagles guy had black gloves on.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just you hit everything on the head. I mean, it's unfortunate, you know. You'll hear no excuses from me. I mean, we didn't get it done, plain and simple. But for everybody that's the hate and the infatuation with the Eagles fan base, to me, is unbelievable. And it shows. It just shows. Like, come on. Oh, you guys are trash. Your road to the Super Bowl was trash. Like, get out of here. We played playoff teams.
Hey, look, you played your schedule.
I don't want to hear it.
You played your schedule. You played your schedule. You played
the
people
playoff
the
teams.
And
they were all playoff teams.
Well, I don't worry about the playoff teams, but they played their schedule, and they were dominant through the schedule, too. They really were. I mean, you know, I know we have the 2 other losses, but Hurts is out. Like, and then they dominated in the playoffs, too. They're a very good team. Like, you don't take that from them. No,
they are, but again,
haters, man.
The big issue now is take the coordinators out of it. Is how many guys are you going to be able to keep? Because you're going to have to back the Brinks truck up because Jalen Hurts was not a first-round pick, so you don't have that option to franchise him and work something out later. Yeah. You've got to pay the guy now because this is the 4th year going into his 4th year.
The big question is going to be, and he will get paid the offseason, Coach. It's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I think Howie's smart. So
he got more room than ever. What are you talking about here? We have more room than ever. We're not you.
But we're
not
we
you. You figure out a way to pay Saquon.
No, the Giants have more capital.
The Giants happen to be have the 3rd largest cap space, and we haven't cut Kenny Golladay yet.
And you'll still find a way to screw it up every time.
Yeah, well, I mean that might be true, but I think it's different.
No, I'm sorry, you're mistaken. We have a new general manager actually knows how to act. Gentleman's gone, so you know.
So with the Eagles, the big thing's going to be because they're talking about Hurts getting $50 million, and Hurts said the only thing that matters to him is winning. And I'm not saying he has to do this, but I just think the kind of guy Hurts is, maybe he takes whatever it is, a team-friendly type deal, whether it's prorated over certain years or – I mean, he's got to get paid. I get it. But he needs to realize, too, you know, there was the top 12 quarterback hits last year. 11 didn't make the playoffs. The one who did is the exception, and that's Pat Mahomes.
Because it didn't kick in yet, though.
Well, no, it did. He was $38 million last year.
Oh, was he? Okay. Yeah. I thought it kicks in this year.
They will be done after this year.
Well, they'll be done. What was good for the Chiefs, though, too, was they hit a lot of draft picks. You get Creed Humphrey, who's one of the best centers in football.
Yep.
You get Trey Smith, who's a great guard. They had a 6th and 7th round, corners playing in the secondary. They've done good with their draft picks.
7th round running back.
Yes, and he was really good, Pacheco. And he ended up overtaking for Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Which, by the way, was my prop bet that I hit on. Thank you. The over.
Yeah,
you remember.
Coach did.
Thank you.
It's just going to be, I'm hoping that he doesn't get this crazy contract and realizes, like, you need it to spread around. Because then you have depth. The Eagles are going to lose some of their depth. I think Fletcher Cox is gone. We'll see about Graham. I don't know now. I thought Kelsey was going to leave if they won, but the way they lost, I wonder if Kelsey may come back and maybe they take Jurgens and put him at guard because Salomalu's gone, the lineman. He's going to get, they think, $12 million a year or so. The Eagles aren't going to pay him that. They'll either draft a guard or try to, maybe move Jurgens over for a year if Kelsey doesn't retire. I think Miles Sanders is gone. I think they're going to try to either draft a running back or bring somebody in. I think they feel like they have a good line.
The mock drafts I've seen, the kid from Texas, the running back from Texas, has been going to the Eagles.
I don't see them drafting running back first round.
No, well, you have 2 picks. Remember, your top 10 pick is they're saying DN, and then the one at the back of the draft,
edge rusher.
It'll be
the edge rusher from Clemson is what everybody's saying. The edge rushers who we're going to go with.
Yeah, well, Miles Murphy. But honestly, I don't know that because I think they're going to like, obviously, Will Anderson, who's not going to be there, Miles Murphy, and then Tyree Wilson. But if none of those three are there by 10, they may go cornerback. But there's a lot of things to look at before that we get to the draft. Do they re-sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson? Do they re-sign Bradbury? That's the two big ones. If Bradbury doesn't get re-signed, they are going to get a corner. And it could be Joey Porter out of Penn State.
I'd rather get C.J., honestly. Than Bradbury.
No, I agree. I think he's going to be a priority for this year.
He's got to be.
And then I agree. And then it's going to be kind of, what do you do? I think they feel like offense, they're there, they're fine. But, I think what got exposed too is they always undervalue linebackers. And
our linebacker play was trash.
Terrible. It was terrible.
Trash.
And, and I will say too,
trash.
Little disappointed in the defensive line. But you know what, though, too, like Jonathan Gannon, if you're not getting pressure with 4, maybe blitz a little bit. Maybe send an extra guy or 2.
You don't send the whole freaking sink on 3rd and short.
Yeah.
Come on. We haven't got to him all day, so we're going to send the house? Like, come on, dude. I can't wait to see him at this clinic. I got 50 questions to ask him, and I'm going to let him have it.
Let me tell you something, Coach. I guarantee you he is not showing up anymore. He is now the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. And he is not going to be at the clinic. I promise you.
It shows you the shit organization the Arizona Cardinals are, because after that Super Bowl, I'd really be like, do we want to make him a coach? And I'm not trying to shit on Jonathan Gannon. But your biggest thing there in Arizona is getting Kyler Murray right. You just gave him a $200 million
that surprised me. But that surprised me. I thought they were going to go with an offensive guy and to try to fix him or whatever. But that hire surprised me.
It's tough too, because they got an older team. JJ Watt's going now.
Right.
The offensive line's older. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be going in the offseason. I think he might end up with the Bears. They're talking. So there's a lot of
Here you go, Bill. He's using your term.
Yes, he is a freaking mental midget. You cannot get him right.
Yeah, I don't disagree, Billy. I think his problem is he don't work hard. Listen, he's not Jalen Hurts. He doesn't have to work in.
Patrick Peterson never says a good or bad word about anybody. He's the black version of the clear eyes guy.
Yeah,
he is. So for him to say Kyler Murray only cares about Kyler Murray, that tells you everything you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
He is a mental freaking midget. Shout out to my guy, the real Coach JB.
Yeah, if you watched Hard Knocks, like it was just every week it was like the same shit, and then it wouldn't happen, and then it's like, well, this week we're gonna, come on, guys, and that's why I never liked Kingsbury. Me and Coach said he should have been fired last year.
Yep.
And Kyler I don't like his attitude. I don't like his just everything.
Let me tell you something. Nick Saban, Vince Lombardi, Bill Belichick, you put them all there, nothing changes. He is a mental midget. He's a clown.
Yeah, I mean,
an asshat. Terrible, man.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree.
You're right.
If he got like an Andy Reid or something, maybe it'd be different. I don't know. I mean, Andy Reid's up there now. He's of active coaches, no doubt he's number 2.
Right.
And he's really going up because if you look at it, I mean, like McNabb was a franchise quarterback, but he's done a lot with not great quarterbacks. Now you got him a great quarterback, and he's won 2 in 4 years.
He's got 100 wins in both places.
Yeah,
I want to say he's one of the only coaches to do that.
And he's pretty much gone in when they were at the bottom and built them both up.
Yeah.
So that's big too. And 5 straight AFC championship games in Chiefs, 4 NFC championship games in Philly. I mean, that's incredibly impressive. And I think it's a little bit, it shows you that it's like Belichick and Brady. And when they paired up, you got the best coach with the best quarterback. And if you look in early 2000s, that was a different league. It was more defensive. Now you got probably the best offensive coach in football and the best quarterback. And you're seeing what can happen when you have it. And like Tyreek Hill, I think Andy actually likes this offense better because you remember Andy with the Eagles. He likes it where you can't single on one guy. That
Right.
it's this guy this game, that guy this game, that guy this game. So there isn't a, hey, this guy's their best guy. This is who they go to. Take him out of the game. And that's why I think the offense had a little jump this year. I don't think per se it's as good in a big game against a tough defense, but still, that's how Andy likes running this offense.
Well, one thing I'd noticed, just obviously you watched the last 3 or 4 games with the Chiefs because of the playoffs. Obviously, Travis Kelce, part of his I don't know if you want to call it mystique or because you can't cover him. He's not running a route. He's playing playground ball.
100%.
He's just going to get open. Just go and get open. And I think that's why he get, like, how does he get lost? Because he's not running a route. Like, you draw it up.
Yeah.
And I think it really mind screws the DBs and people who are covering him because they're expecting him to run a simple drag or a post, and he's not.
Yeah, and what's great about it too is Mahomes. They just have this like thing where it's like he knows what he's going to do, and it's a special combination. And people who want to make him, and look, he's up there, he is. But I would still go. I mean, look, and Gronk had some injuries, but I think what Gronk brought to the table, like physicality wise and blocking, kind of puts him ahead. And go look at Gronk. Touchdown wise, I mean, Gronk just caught touchdowns like insane. But Kelsey's special. He really is. I mean, he's just a nightmare. He's a nightmare. And then, like, when I saw how open he was early, I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And then they finally went and did what I said, Coach, on the show. They put Slay on him, and he started doing that. And
but even after that, then they ran zone and they switched. They ended up switching again.
Yeah, but he didn't really early on. He got him, but he didn't really get him late. But if you look at it, the 2 big touchdowns that we were talking about earlier, they were worried about Kelsey, and then that's why it happened. And they're switching about him, and then they fucking let. Honestly, me and Billy, I could have been on the one side on the one, and Billy on the other, and we could have caught him and easily run them in no time. And that's how bad that is. And like, I'm not even like joking. I'm being serious. I could have been out there now and just walked and been like, here. Throw me the ball, and it could have just walked in. I mean, that's bad.
It was bad. And then what I didn't understand is if we're not getting any pressure, stop bringing 4.
You got to blitz. Yeah.
Get. Oh no. This is what you do. Then you take one of the linemen off because obviously they're not doing anything. Put an extra linebacker on. Mm-hmm. Try to stop the bleeding. Try to stop it a little bit. Make him beat us with his arm. Make him do it. Instead of giving him both, you gonna give him both? Make it beat us.
Yeah.
Well, I think both D lines did do a crappy job. I know the Chiefs got credit for 2 sacks, but that was only because Jalen Hurts ran out of bounds behind the line. It wasn't like they weren't sacks. I wouldn't call them sacks. I mean,
the Chiefs rush created a game-changing play. What are you talking about? The fumble.
No, he just fumbled.
No, he fumbled that on his. Nobody touched him. He just dropped the ball and kicked it.
But if they didn't touch him, they surrounded him. It was like, well, damn.
No, he doesn't kick that ball. I think because he kicked it and off to the side, and I mean not on purpose, obviously, but he kicked the football. And, I mean, if he doesn't kick the football, there's a good chance he falls on top of it and we move on with our day.
And if people want to get mad at Jalen, here's my thing. He's got the ball and so much on his back. It's ridiculous. Right. And it's going to happen. It's just they expect so much from him. I mean, you look at that game too. We couldn't really run the football. All the running was going by Hurts. I mean, the running backs were very disappointing. I mean, we couldn't get the run game going. It was all Jalen Hurts. I mean, he was just unbelievable. And, that's another thing we need to improve and say, look, we obviously he can still run, but me and Coach have said it about Lamar and these other guys, and we've been proven right. And I understand he's a big guy and all, but if you play him like you're playing him, he's not going to play much into his 30s. He's not. They got to tone that down and think about long term with him, or else he's going to get hurt 1 year too. It's going to happen. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, they have now both been hurt ending the season the last 2 seasons. And me and Coach preached about it year after year.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hope they, be more vigilant of that, obviously. But yeah, it was, I mean, look, both the defensive lines, I think both of them. But honestly, I think with the Chiefs too, I think the Chiefs were pissed that all they heard was Eagles offensive line, Eagles defensive line, Eagles offensive line, Eagles defensive line, Eagles offensive line. Their offensive line played really well, and they're good. I mean, Creed Humphreys is probably, after Kelsey, the best center in football. Trey Smith, one of the best guards in football. Joe Tooney hasn't been as good, but he's still one of the better guards in football. And then you got Orlando Brown Jr., who a hell of a run blocker.
Oh, yeah.
Not as good in the pass, but he hasn't been as good either. He was a really good right tackle, but he wanted to move to left because that's where you get paid more.
Right,
so,
right.
And
that's a big question mark too. He's played on the franchise tag this year. They have to pay him, otherwise he's a free agent. So that's a big question mark for the Chiefs. Right. And just to change gears a little bit, because I just heard this today, that the Bears have put CJ Stroud on the block.
What do you mean, the number 1 pick?
No, they're putting CJ Stroud on the block. They're going to draft a quarterback. I'm sorry, CJ Stroud. I'm sorry. Who's the quarterback that's there now? No, who's the quarterback for the Bears now?
Justin Fields.
Fields, yeah, Justin Fields on the block. My bad.
Wow, honestly,
big woo. What do you get from that?
I think they would get a first rounder.
No, because let me tell you, after their bye, wait a second. After the bye, they turned it around and they were kind of scoring points, and because they were running the ball a little bit more, they were letting him be him a little bit,
right,
and whatnot. And I'm telling you, there's some teams out there that might,
I agree. And Billy, he had no offensive line and no weapons. Now, Hurts made a huge jump this year, no doubt. But let's not forget, they put some weapons around them, and I do think that helped. Now, Hurts obviously did the work himself too and improved, his accuracy, reading defenses, everything, no doubt. But I mean, I think with Fields, they're going to say he had no offensive line. They could run, it's going to help your running game just for the fact that you got to watch out for him. And if you have weapons on the outside, I'm not saying it's going to be a top 10 pick, but I do think somebody will give him late first round.
Look, let me tell you something.
I
could see. Wait a second. I could see the Ravens shipping off Lamar Jackson down to Atlanta, getting some picks, and taking Stroud, and kind of not skipping a beat. I'm Justin Fields. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep. They both played at Ohio State. Okay.
I mean, and look, Justin Fields is probably going to have the same thing. They're just going to say, can he get the completion percentage up? Is he going to be able to throw the ball? But no, he showed flashes, and I do think because look, there's tons.
How about the Jets?
Well, that's what I heard today, and I think they'd be crazy to do this. Yeah. Supposedly, if they get Rodgers, they're going to give up the number 13th pick.
Wow.
Overall, and to me, it's like to get a quarterback that's only going to be a placeholder for a year or two and then retire. I wouldn't give up a first round pick, and you got to pay him a ton of money.
But that's the Jets thing to do, because here's a guy who took $50 million and then turned around and bitched about not having anybody to throw the football to.
Yeah.
If you wanted to win a Super Bowl, you would have taken less money. Yeah. And kept your number 1 receiver instead of bitching about it. And you gotta go back to, I mean, Gronk even said it. I mean, a lot of people called him out because he said, "Oh, I can win another MVP, not I can play at an MVP level and help my team win a Super Bowl. It's about me." He's going to be a locker room cancer.
Well, and that's what I worry about with a young team too. A young team that had the offensive and defensive rookies of the year, and 2. You got Garrett Wilson, who looks really good. Do you want a guy like Aaron Rodgers coming in and frustrating him and maybe setting him back, because now it's a new offense. So Rodgers isn't going to be, he's got to learn a new offense, obviously. And I don't
think he can handle the media, because you got to figure in Green Bay, what do they have? maybe 50, 70 reporters at his locker. New York, you're going to have over 200 guys at your locker every day, and they're not going to accept your, well, I think I'm just going to go in my hut and, meditate about it. They're not accepting that in New York. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys now, unless you're getting Stroud or Young, this is not the draft to go quarterbacks.
I like
Levitz, from Kentucky. I like him too. Yeah,
Richardson's a guy with
he's a stretch,
but you can't expect him to play for a year or two. Like he's got some potential.
But I was just gonna say, I mean, other than those two, who are you gonna get? Tyler Van Dyke,
and
KJ Jefferson,
Hooker from Tennessee,
second rounder,
who can throw the ball 90 yards on a rope.
He also got exposed by Bama.
No, he didn't.
They didn't. They scored 50 points.
I mean, not Bama. My fault. Georgia.
Yeah, I mean that's
they
tough
got exposed
though.
by Georgia.
It was pouring out. They got overwhelmed early, and then when you're down like that against a team like that, you kind of
right, Angelo. You're right with that. Richardson. He's a project. He's a guy you drafted in the third, fourth round. I don't think he's a first round talent.
He's going in the first round.
Oh, you're probably right.
They got him going to the Panthers in some things, so he's going in the first round.
Richardson?
Yeah.
You think he's going in the first round?
Oh, 100% he's going.
With all the halfbacks in
there's only a one or two running backs they may go.
And defensive players in this draft. There's a lot of defensive players in this draft.
Corner.
This draft is defense heavy.
Well, that's why I said like defensive ends. There's only the three guys. And then after that, the rest are looking probably in the 20s. So that's why I think if Miles Murphy, Will Anderson, or Tyree Wilson aren't there, I don't know if they go D tackle. I think they may go corner depending on what Bradbury does. And then they may take a running back. But I really believe the Eagles think like they like Kenny Gainwell as a backup. I mean, I don't know if they put him as a starter. But there's plenty of guys out there that they can –
there's so many running backs on the free agent market this year.
We don't like Falsky
from the Notre Dame. He's good, but I don't see him. He's not a 10, number 10. No way. If they could trade back maybe and get more picks.
Well, the mock drafts I've been seeing is the Eagles are going to go defense with the top 10 pick, and that the pick at 30 is going to be a running back is what I'm seeing.
Last year they could draft more because they had a lot of depth. That's changing now, and they know it.
What about Hargrove? He's a free agent. What are you doing with him? Is he like for Hargrove?
Yeah, that's another one you're gonna.
I mean, because I think he was a big part of that. The reason why he had
over 10 sacks. I mean, he's a big part.
Angelo said go Kareem Hunt, go sign Kareem Hunt, and to go with Gainwell, and you're fine with that O-line.
No, I mean that's not a bad idea.
But Kareem Hunt,
I agree with that.
You can get Kareem Hunt cheap, Billy. You can probably give him a 1 or 2 year deal at $5 million a year. Like that's and trust me. Kareem Hunt would love Philadelphia.
Yep.
And, he's a power running back, and I think the Eagles would rather have that. I think with Sanders, something happened with Sanders. I know supposedly him and Sirianni got into an argument at the Super Bowl during the game, because it was just weird. Like, he'd play and he wouldn't, and they seemed to struggle against good defenses running the ball, and I don't know what it was, but yeah, I think the Kareem Hunt thing's actually
look. You got Josh Jacobs out there, and I read today that the what's his name from the Bengals is going to be a cap casualty.
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon's going to get cut. You have the Pollard from the Cowboys. You have Saquon Barkley who could be out there. I mean, because I'm sorry, I just can't see paying a running back $15 million. I just can't.
Pollard just for the explosiveness, and until you're taking him from the Cowboys, kind of like this one didn't work out. But when they got Murray, remember they got Murray from the Cowboys, that didn't work out. But still, I think I would love Pollard.
Yeah, I think he'd be good.
It's just going to be what's it for? The Eagles aren't going to overpay a running back. It's not going to happen. But
I same with the Giants. I just can't see. I think the Giants will probably franchise tag Barkley and then move on after next year. Is what way I think.
They're saying Zeke's going to restructure, but man, like the Dallas doesn't have a ton of money. if somebody's willing to offer Pollard a lot of money, and I don't think they can franchise him, I don't know if the Cowboys are going to be able to really pay it. I mean, you're paying Dak.
No, but if they could cut Zeke because then they don't.
They're not going to cut him. They weren't. But
what they say and what they do are two different things.
They're not going to cut Zeke.
Why? But it saves them $10 million in their salary cap that they could go and keep Pollard. Who would you rather have, Zeke or Pollard? Right now, I'd rather have Pollard. Tell him to go hit the bricks, man.
I would rather have Pollard the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
we are talking about Jerry Jones.
Yeah,
you keep forgetting who you're dealing with. You're dealing with Jerry Jones, one of the weirdest, most selfish managers in the whole sheboygan. Yeah, so you don't know what this guy's
like he said about the Eagles, that the Eagles put everything into this year to win a Super. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, we're a younger team. Like, we didn't put all our chips in to win a Super Bowl this year. And honestly, you look ever since they lost Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy put that together, and then Jerry's kind of been like, it's not Daniel Snyder, but it's always his fingerprint on it. And he's a problem. And he's the only owner, too, that has a post-game news conference every week. He's a distraction.
He goes on the radio every week in Dallas, and he
can't help himself.
He can't help himself. You're right.
He's a moron.
Yep.
He's a moron. He's a.
I love it. I love it because it's just great for Eagles fans. There's nothing better than I hate when he goes up to him and he's clapping and sitting there with his freaking smile. There's nothing better. I'm like Stephen A. Smith. Nothing makes me feel better than when I see those freaking, because they are cockroaches. They're fans. They are.
I told you. If there was a nuclear war, there'd be 3 things that would survive.
Yep.
The cockroaches,
bacteria, and
the Cowboys fans. Matter of fact, cockroaches, rats, and Cowboy fans.
Well, that's what I love now too. It's like, well, we got more Super Bowls than you, and it's like, all right, do you want to talk about shit that was 40 years ago? Like, Roger.
It's very funny. So I had a kid today start running his mouth like that. And I go, the last time the Cowboys won, you weren't even born yet. So how would you even know what a championship looks like?
Yeah.
I told a guy on my Facebook, I was like, the last time, it was a Redskins fan, it was like, the last time you guys won a Super Bowl, gas was $1.19 a gallon. And a freaking 91 Honda Accord was the baddest thing on the road. Get the heck out of here.
Yeah, it's been a long time for those teams. And, crazy. It would be a long time for the Giants, too, if they didn't have the 2 kind of just late surges they have those 2 years to really, get into the playoffs and make the miracle run. I mean, credit to Eli, Tom Coughlin, and that defense. And, 2, honestly, which I think Spagnuolo's, but I'm surprised nobody's giving Spagnuolo a look. I mean, he's got 4 Super Bowls.
But Spag said last time he's done being a head coach. He said he's done. He you know what? He figured it out. You know what? I'm better at just being a coordinator.
Yeah, that's fine and good for him. I mean,
and like some guys are. There's a lot of guys out there like Shermer for the Giants. He's a better coordinator than he was head coach.
It's the truth. Wade Phillips is another one. Just a better defensive coordinator than and Michael Johnson. I feel for you, Mike. And look, I mean,
what's up, Mike?
Well, I wonder about the Browns too because they should be better, but it's like you got to wonder about Watson. I mean, he did look rusty. Hopefully, we'll see what happens next year. And that was something I saw, Coach. They talked about how, all the quarterbacks have kind of retired that we grew up with in the early 2000s. Roethlisberger, Brady, Breeze, all those guys. They had pictures of them. But they said, don't worry, you got all these young kids coming up. And it was Josh Allen, Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. And then they had Bill Cosby in a Browns jersey. And I'm not trying to think about that. All that stuff's terrible. But I thought it was,
but look, he's kind of the old elder statesman in the league now. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody else around is pretty young. In him and David Carr, and Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers, the 3. Oh, Russell Wilson, I forgot about him.
Yeah, that's so.
4 older statesmen of the league.
Right. Well, there's going to
Right.
be the quarterback carousel is going to be nuts this year because Carr obviously is out there now.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy G is going to be out there. There's some question about Lamar Jackson, and I think that's very intriguing.
Now, do you go with Huntley? Huntley didn't do bad now.
Yep.
No,
No, I'm not paying Lamar. I'll trade and get what I can get
what would
for
you
him
get
and move
for
on.
Lamar though? Honestly,
He's an MVP. He's
first round picks.
Yeah, I would think
Russell Wilson gets because he's younger than Russell Wilson too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
he's only like 26. A couple of ones and maybe even a 2 or a 3 thrown in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you go to the Jets or the Falcons or whoever it is, and the Falcons got like the number 8 pick, if I'm them, I'd think about it. I mean, because I don't know what's going on there, but it's not good. It's not good. I think Lamar. I don't know what it is, but and look, if I was
because his mom is his agent, that's part of the problem.
I think supposedly there are $100 million gap between what he wants and what they want to give. I don't know if that's true, but I think he feels like, well, go look at Josh Allen, go look at Joe Burrow, look what the Eagles just did for Jalen Hurts. Patrick Mahomes. They put guys around them he understands they built the offense around him. But he wasn't really given the weapons to succeed. He wasn't.
You're right.
And, all
but
these
also
other guys.
But also, you got to remember. Look, they won They won the Super Bowl. They backed up the Brinks truck for Flacco, and they weren't able to do anything.
Yeah.
And I got to believe they're not going to get in that same situation again. So they're going to move on from him and get some. Something for him.
It's just crazy to think that because people don't understand too, and that's the thing, the Chiefs had a lot of things fall their way this year too. I mean, Cincinnati beats, Ravens really probably should have beat Cincinnati in that game.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, if the Bills beat Cincy and Cincy, they would have had home field advantage.
Yes.
I don't care what people think. I think the Bills could have beat the Chiefs. I really do. Even you could say, no, you're nuts. But the Bills have played well against them. They beat them earlier this year in Kansas City because the Chiefs don't really run the ball great. And I know they did a little bit this week, but against and that's where the Bills, you kind of got to run against them. And Josh Allen just killed the Chiefs.
There's another team in the market for a running back. The Bills.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they're running back away from
offensive line a little bit too. You got
they have a couple plugs, but
But no, getting Von Miller back next year, and they're not that. Honestly, I just think where they fucked up was not getting rid of McDermott.
Yeah, but I mean, he's winning, and I mean, it's hard to justify to the fan base.
He's also losing when it matters, Coach.
Yeah, you're right.
And you look at the last two, egregious,
awful.
I mean, the Chiefs game. I don't know what was it, 18 seconds or whatever it was, and you lose the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Coach, they looked terrible against the Dolphins with Skylar Thompson at quarterback and barely won that first-round game, which is very questionable. And then you put on the field what you did against the Bengals where you were out-coached, out-played, out everything. Yes. And you got your teammate who had that such a shocking thing and, happen. And it's just
right.
And I do think
you would have thought they were rallied around them, but I mean, you look, that's still your home stadium. Snow is part of the deal. I mean, it shouldn't have affected you as much, as the visiting team. I know it's Cincinnati; they get just as much snow, but
yeah.
I haven't agreed with Sammy a lot lately, but I agree with one thing he said. If it's playoffs, it should be either in fair weather or inside because it's just. There's too much at stake and too many athletes on the field.
That's not football, man. Football, you play unless there's lightning.
But and also from a fan's perspective, I'm paying $300-$400 to go to a regular season game and freeze my ass off. I'm sure they were probably paying thousands of dollars to go freeze their ass off. I mean, I think honestly I think I agree with you. All the stadiums should be in a dome. And, hey, put a retractable roof. So when it's nice, you can open it. But when it's bad weather, close it up.
Football, Coach. And I agree with you. But how about that field at the Super Bowl? It was ridiculous. Everybody was slipping and sliding.
That was the last play. Jada could throw it hard because he slipped.
I know. Yeah. He stepped on. I think he thought he stepped on Kelsey's foot. But
yeah, no, he slipped. You could see he was like, oh shit. Yeah, that's why I only went 40 yards.
Yeah. And what's funny too is Goodell said his whole state of the NFL conference brought up officiating, how it's better than it's ever been, and then look what happens. They got to fix it. Because fans are getting really tired of it. I mean, the whole NFL rigged is just stupid, but
I hate that.
It's true. There's a lot of times these refs really just screw the pooch. I understand it's a hard job.
My problem is, during a regular season game, there's 3 angles, but in a playoff game, there's 86 different camera angles, and you can slow it down to fit whatever narrative you want. Like that holding call, you had to freeze the frame just to see the shirt move so that you could justify calling the hold. But the naked eye, I just don't understand, because I personally feel like that second fumble picked up touchdown that was obviously called back, I thought he made a football move. He got the ball. He took 2 steps.
It was close. Well,
he took 2 steps.
But then
he didn't take 2 steps. He turned.
He did. No, he took 2 steps. He took 2 steps.
He took 2 steps. But they slowed it down so much to see the ball wiggle a little bit.
Yeah.
And say, oh, it's incomplete. That bothers me.
Coach,
I mean,
in our defense though too, that Devontae Smith, they were there for 5 minutes looking at that, and it's like, I don't think there's no way. I think, and this is what I feel, they said, okay, I think most likely it wasn't a catch, so we're just going to call it. There's no way you could say indisputable visible.
Right, and I agree, because
referee on the telecast said that, and you overturn that. And
because that was more of a catch than the one they gave to Goddard.
No, Goddard's
going out of bounds.
Goddard's was a catch. He got the ball and his toe was still down and he secured it finally. That to me was a catch. I think both of them you couldn't overturn, and that's my point. They overturned the one, and how about the one thing too? It's like they went to run a play and they stopped it because they said the Chiefs didn't have time to the thing, and then Andy Reid challenged. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, are you trying? That's where this is.
No, because here's that is the rule though.
Somebody got knocked over
the official so when you run that hurry up, so they have a chance to substitute.
No, it wasn't a hurry up. It's because somebody got knocked over on the sidelines. That's why. That's why they stopped it.
All right.
They said when somebody gets knocked over on the sidelines, they get time to, don't ask me,
adjust or something.
Yeah, I'm just, and this was, they screwed the pooch. And like I said, the Eagles had plenty of opportunities. There's no doubt about it. The defense was disappointing, but it still doesn't matter. That shouldn't have been called. And if, like I said, if the shoe was on the other foot, the Chiefs fans would have been up and roaring.
I'm telling you, the game is too fast for these older refs. We see it at the high school over here in Delaware.
Yeah, you're right. Dan, I agree with that. You're right.
I think it was 3 years ago you said that. I looked at you. I was like, wait, what? And you're
right. You're right. It is. It's getting too fast, and part of the problem, I blame officials, because I mean, I umpire baseball, and so I'm in it, and these old guys don't take anybody under their wing. Nope. They don't try to bring a young guy up and help them along and guide them. They're more worried about, oh, this guy's stealing my job, stealing my money, and being selfish. Exactly. And in turn, you're just ruining the game. And I mean, that's one of the reasons I used to umpire all over the freaking state of Delaware in there, and I can't do it anymore because these guys are horrible.
Is a lot of referees, they won't say it. And sometimes it could be subconsciously, but if they don't like somebody or they think you showed them up.
But also, let me tell you, you know what? We shove a microphone in everybody's face and wanting to know what the problem is. Why don't these officials have to come to the podium and explain themselves just like everybody else does after a game?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm tired of this.
Guy who, remember, he ruined the perfect game for the pitcher with Detroit.
Yeah,
and he owned it afterwards. He said, "I feel terrible. I missed the call." And you know what? I think fans are like, you know what? Hey,
right. You would get a less blowback, but just standing up and saying, "Hey, my bad. I screwed up."
Yeah.
But there is enough technology. Like why do we still have the chains in football? Why is there still the chains?
That's how I feel about the strike zone in baseball, Coach. And I know you
no,
say like,
no, that's different.
that's
That's
not
different. It is
Why
different.
though?
It is
Why
different.
when you have it on TV that shows what the strike zone, are you going to leave it to an ump who can fuck up a game? Why? What's the point?
Because you have professional hitters when they know exactly where that is.
But it doesn't always happen
yes,
like that.
It does.
Coach.
It
no,
does.
It doesn't. There's plenty of guys who are all over the place. And then for one team, it'll be this bullshit, Coach. That should be all. Hey, it should be. And you're a clown because he's an umpire, doesn't want to lose his fucking job.
No, that's not it. That's not the case. I don't feel
Coach
like
don't
there
lose
should
his
be
fucking beer money, bro.
Hey, listen.
Here's
the problem.
We have a chip in tennis. We have a chip in tennis to know if the ball is in or out, but we don't have a chip in a football to know where it should be marked.
Here's the problem with all that and doing all that. Technology is something until technology stops working. So you sit there and you want to have a computer do it and all this other stuff. Technology is something until it stops working.
Well, with balls and strikes, how would it not work, Billy?
It misfunctions. Boom, way up here. Ball, strike.
It's better than some ump who the ball's fucking. The guy that have to fucking have a bat and like be fucking 8 feet tall to reach it to the outside.
No, and that is not the case. Oh, okay, at that level. I mean, I've seen it at the middle school, high school level where some guys doing that. But I mean, look, me personally, I'm not, I'm not going to make you swing at a ball in the dirt or over your head. But when I see you take that practice swing and you know what? That ball's a little bit near the black on the outside corner. I'm calling it a strike, man. I'm sorry.
All right, but Coach, here's my point too, and you know it too. There is such a difference between just a 2-1 and a 1-2 count. Such a difference because now at 1-2 you have to protect because the third strike you're out, and so just that one pitch is a huge difference. That's my point, though. And there's no point. Then you know what? Then get rid of the damn thing on the telecast because all I know is that drives me crazy.
And also, why do we have these these officials? Oh, let's go to Mike Ferreira, and half the time he's wrong because they this should be a penalty here, and then they don't call it like he says it. He's just stealing money. Just stop.
90% of them
are. Coach, if they called you up, you'd be looking at that.
Absolutely. I'd be right there. Yeah.
Coach would probably do it for $100 a game.
That's right. What do you get? $100 a game?
3 tickets and a hot dog.
I get to go to the game and I get some hot dogs, man. I'm good.
Never be right.
And I get some beer, man.
free coffee at the game.
Yeah. Coach, you
better be giving me free beer. You better be giving me free beer.
Podcast,
Oh man.
So now, what do you guys think? I mean, going into next year, because that's the thing with the Eagles. I mean, Hurts will get a contract, but he's still, on his deal next year. And I really think the Eagles, to me, it's like, I wonder if you load up for next year. You know what I mean? Because, it's wide open for him in the NFC. San Francisco will be back, but I do think, man, I just don't know that you go with, I wasn't impressed with Lance. What's his name? Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Lance, no.
And then other than that, like, I just don't see, who can catch up to him. I really think the Eagles are good. And they're the clear-cut favorite in the NFC.
I agree.
Now, look, injuries can happen. There's a lot of things that are out of your hands that could happen. But to me, I just wonder if you're the Eagles, do you really try to go for it again next year? Let's see what happens with some retirements and things like that. But yeah, I think they have a real good shot.
I agree. I agree, even though, it pains me to say it. But, because the Giants are still a distant second. Let's face it. They're made strides. I put them behind the Cowboys.
Sorry.
Well, I don't know about that, but you know,
They got a better defense and they got a better quarterback. I mean, not that Dak's great, but you know,
I don't know. Dak had more, but Daniel Jones had a better passer rating than you know, QBR was better than Dak this year.
Now the computer guy who's killing computers now is killing the computer. The team who I really think could be dangerous is the Lions.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
I mean, they're tough.
Because let me tell you, Brett, I think Aaron Rodgers is gone. So
they started 2-7 and finished 9-8. So that's, you know, 7-1 down the stretch, and they're gritty. And you look at their losses. They played the Eagles to the end, 38-35 in week 1. They barely lost to the Bills on Thanksgiving, and that's their one loss down the stretch. You know, I like Detroit. I really do.
I agree with you. And once Aaron Rodgers is gone, that division is theirs, because I have no faith in, or nobody does anyway, in what's his name there in Minnesota.
Yeah, you got a good offensive line. Jared Goff had no interceptions the last 2.5 months. You got St. Brown at receiver. You got Jamal Williams at running back and
Swift. Yep.
And the defense played a lot better down the stretch. Now, they still need help on defense, Bill. You're right. But Hutchinson was a really good pick from Michigan. He showed out last year. And to me, if Gardner isn't the rookie of the year, it's probably Hutchinson. But, you know, a couple pieces on defense, and the lines are dangerous.
Hey, Coach, where'd you say he was from again?
That school in the north.
Oh, okay. Michigan. You're right. Michigan.
Well, I'm sorry. What time is it?
Where's TCU at?
9:15. It's where
Max
9:15. And Michigan still sucks.
And Ohio State still can't beat us. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Ohio State won like 13 straight, and they've lost the last 2.
And here we go.
Oh man.
Hey, all I gotta say is watch out for Penn State next year. They're gonna be good. They got the highest quarterback that they've had since Hackenberg. I know Hackenberg didn't work out. You got the 2 young running backs coming out. There was a lineman who was going to be a first-round pick who came back. Yeah, Penn State's going to be good next year.
Nevada, you don't even believe that.
I do. I believe it.
All right.
Beat Ohio State and Michigan.
All right, everyone.
Thank
you. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to go on a little break, and then we're going to come back at the draft and do our little draft show, and go hang out, and then we'll be back. So we appreciate you. Everybody stay tuned, be safe, and hey, share it with your friends, and we'll see everybody during the draft.
Yes, indeed.
Be good.